Hi everyone, how are you? I'm Ali, and now I'm going to be uploading, since I'm back on YouTube, a long format videos in terms of what do you actually need for useful stuff. And when I say useful stuff, I'll go by introducing myself. So I'm an expat living in Dubai, 33 years old, and I've been in Dubai and working in GCC market for over 6 years now. I'm an HR professional and I literally help people place jobs. So having said this, if you have received your job and you have moved to Dubai recently, then this video is for you. Now today we're going to talk about how to get an apartment for yourself. First of all, in order to get an apartment, because Dubai rental market is expensive, you need to set a budget aside, and you must be wondering what is the real budget or good budget like. So if you're a single expat, then it's slightly easy versus if you're an expat with the family. How in every case, there is a cost you have to bear given the location you're at. My always suggestion is to the people, see where your office is and then look and find an apartment for yourself. And third comes a budget, because your office could be in a certain location, you could live in a nearby area, but you can pay an exorbitant rent which will suck possibly all your salary and you won't be able to save much, especially if you have family. Similarly, second option is you live in a far-flung area or suburban area and then go or drive to office daily. Third is you can look for an option where there's a metro and you can park next to the metro station which is close to your office and then take metro to office. These are possibly three scenarios one can work or look around. But the question is which area? So largely I'll define Dubai in three segments. So first is those areas which has metro accessibility. It stretches right from airport to Dubai South, but then the quality of areas differ substantially. If you are in downtown Business Bay, you're going to pay a lot because that area is expensive. Same goes for JLT, Marina and JB, the popular areas. But if you go down south towards Abu Dhabi, means the new airport, rents are significantly cheaper and it's more spacious there. Whereas if you go closer to the airport, rents are cheaper, but the population density per square meter is a lot, means a lot of people live there. It's a very crowded area. Second, how I see or always have rented myself. I see my annual rent should not be more than 2 times my salary maximum. For example, if my salary is 10,000, I will multiply it by 20,000. So my annual rent should not be more than 20,000. Now, based on this logic, if I'm single, that's lovely. If I have a family, then it gets more complicated. There are more layers to it. I would find an apartment for myself, whether it's apartment sharing, whether it's an Airbnb, whether it's a hotel apartment, whether it's a furnished apartment or an unfurnished apartment. That's the first and foremost thing. Second, if you are going to get an apartment for yourself, there are the following things you need to keep in mind. First of all, most apartments in Dubai, you need to get it by an agent. I'd say 90-95%, but there are some landlords who would do it themselves, but I always suggest to have an agent if it's first time. However, please note your agent is supposed to be your trustee, but what is a common practice? They run away the moment they get their commission. That's also a thing. So always go for agent from a reputable agency rather than a standalone individual. That really gives you a security cover per se, because it's a big company and you can find them on platforms like Bayut, Property Finder, Dubizzle. You find a lot of agents there. Then, if you finalize an apartment, you need to go and visit. Every apartment comes with certain cost, and some costs are upfront, some you need to know. So when you enter, you need to see whether it's a new building, old building, furnished, unfurnished, because whenever you get an apartment which is unfurnished, you pay 5% of security. However, it's furnished, you pay 10% of the security. In checks, you need to deposit. We'll talk about later how payment works in Dubai. That's the first thing. Second, you need to check the building is chiller free or not, because chiller free reduces your AC bill, because in Dubai it is structured in a way that we do not have fans. It's all about ACs. Second is you have to check whether the area has a gas stove or electric stove. If it's electric stove, you're saving your money because it doesn't cost much having an electric stove. But if you are from Asian household, mostly South Asian, they all prefer gas, so that's another top up you have to pay. And then you also have to check in this area which internet is good, Etisalat or Do. These are roughly you have to agree, and then you have to ask the parking slots. Usually if it's a studio, 1 bed or 2 bed, you get 1 parking. 3 bed and above, you get more than 2 parking. What sometimes people do is, if they have more than 1 car, they will purchase an extra parking slot, or they pay to RT and get the closest parking spot, and they can park there. However, besides all of this, what are the major upfront costs you have to keep in mind? Mostly it's 2% agent fee, and it's throughout UAE like this. If any agent asks for admin fee, it means it's a scam, or there are 2 agents involved and they're asking for the commission from you by fooling you around. Then there's 5% for unfurnished apartment, and then you have to pay checks. Now, what checks actually means is, let's say you got an apartment for 12,000 and you're going to pay 6 times a year, means twice a month you're going to pay. And here the logic in UAE mostly traditionally has been, you pay by depositing checks. Now there are a couple of new options how you can pay them flexibly, but we'll talk in a different video about it. So that was overall roughly cost you have to keep in mind. But when you move in, you sign a lease, then there's a Ejari cost, and then there is some cost which you have to pay for DLD. That is for your own protection, and that is very good. And do not move in any apartment without Ejari. And Ejari specifically lists your name, apartment number, and your Emirates ID. This is official document by the government, Dubai Land Department. In case of any issue, you can refer to Ejari. Remember this thing. Then, mostly some apartments usually ask for your Ministry of Labour document if you're new, 3 months back statement if you're old, along with Emirates ID and passport of the co-dependents who want to live in that apartment. But if you're a single person and if you're new, they will ask for a Ministry of Labour contract, offer letter, because when you're new, payslip is not there. Or if there is, you can show them, then they check historically what they think a person will be able to afford or not. That's just a hygiene check. So once you've made the deposit, which is 5%, and first check, depending on how many check you have entered, you're going to enter. Now here it is. Before you enter a new apartment, ask your landlord for an AC cleaner, cleaning of your duct pipes. Clean it all, and also oral cleaning of an apartment once. The day you enter, before that you have to do few things. In the morning you have to apply for DEWA deposit. DEWA is Dubai Electric and Water Supply Commission. They are the ones who provide electricity and non-stop water. And you need to apply this 2,400 deposit you have to pay before you move in, and then the connection goes live. And usually what they ask is Ejari, your Emirates ID, and you have to pay a certain deposit. That's it. If you apply in the morning, by evening it will go live, or if you do in the evening, it will go next day in the morning live. That's the first thing. Then some apartments like where I live, AC is provided by a different supplier. Sometimes it's the Breeze, sometimes it's Empower. And then there's a different supplier for electric and water supply, that's DEWA. So in my case, I have Empower who supplies AC, and all of the electricity and water is done by DEWA. So I open up a different account of Empower and submit security for around the 1,600 which I have to pay. Again, Ejari, Emirates ID, that's it. All you need to go live, and you can do sitting phone via your app. That's it. And then third thing is internet. These are the fundamentals you have to have before you move in, right? And to get internet usually differs from area to area, but largely what is the consensus? You can always ask the building which connection do you have. They always guide you. You can ask agent also, landlord also. It's usually do and Etisalat, where it's a general consensus in UAE that do is good for Wi-Fi at home, and for mobile internet it's always Etisalat. So you can select the package you want based on what kind of GB you want, so on and so forth. Usually what happens is the moment you sign a lease, agent gives you number to insane amount of further agents who will contact you for do and Etisalat. You can ask them what is the rate, compare the rates from do official or Etisalat official website or their kiosk all over UAE, and check whichever is cheap. They'll come install the same day, and then you go live. Now once you've purchased furniture, which you can from Home Center, Home Box, there's so many options. You can get it customized from Dragon Mart, there's IKEA, there are many options. You can buy on Debizzle, Facebook Marketplace, your apartment's furniture, your day moving in. Now you're entering the apartment goes live. First thing you have to do, turn on all the lights, because if it's a new apartment, everything is going to be new. If it's a used apartment, lights might be damaged. So you have to check all the lights first of all. Then you have to check all the water supply, the taps and sinks, if it's all working properly or not. Third, you have to make a video of every corner, every inch of your apartment to see that everything, how it is. As a document, and then send it on WhatsApp to the landlord, because WhatsApp messages are considered legal. So that tomorrow when you leave, anything is not blamed on you. Same goes for any issue. When I moved in, this apartment was brand new and a lot of water supply was not consistent, putting one of the toilets. Same, I had a flush problem because I had made a video I had shared to them, they did it for free. And also, sometimes it's mentioned in Jari, sometimes it's not, but usually the consensus is that if it's anything up to 500, you do it yourself. Anything beyond that, you have to ask the landlord, provided that it's not damaged by you. That's the condition. If you damage them yourself, you can't blame, right? So these are roughly few things you have to keep in mind before you move into any apartment. And ta-da! In terms of areas and how you can make payments, I'll make another video in order to save time for you to guys watch. Thank you.